welcome back. So we are still on our journey with this client of mine that asked me to make 7 tumblers, and I'm still making more. Anyways, this particular tumbler was supposed to be a flamingo themed tumbler, but she also mentioned that she loves these 2 colors. So I went ahead, went outside, spray painted this in this some kind of coral pink. I don't know if I'll, any kind of pink I think would be fine. And then some maybe Saint Tropez, or I don't know, some kind of aqua teal color. But I did kind of an ombre, but I was going to be using the ombre more in the glitter than in the paint. So once again, I'm using basic white girl because I really liked that it had all of those colors in there, but it also is very iridescent. And so I knew that it would bring out a lot of that pink corally color, but it wouldn't, there wouldn't be too much color taken over, because I knew I was going to be doing some kind of water slides or sticker paper and that kind of thing. So I wanted it to have a really light glitter to it, instead of going in darker with like a darker paint color. And once again, my client was there at my studio that I had created, so she picked out these colors. So, well, not, she didn't pick out basic white girl, but she picked out this one, and this is Wonderland from Chase Ray, and she said she really loves this type of teal. So I just base coated it with that teal color spray paint, and then use this over that. So, but so I was staying true to the colors that she picked and chose. In order to just make sure there was a little bit of that pink color, I went in with this really light colored pink from Boujie Glitters. This, I'm not exactly sure what the color is, but I will definitely list it down below. But I just thought, instead of using a white there, I would just use some kind of lighter color pink. And this is a very iridescent, clear, not clear, but more of an iridescent, like see-through type color. So and then I went in with Thrive from Peachy Olive in order to fill in that bottom part of that color. So I kind of picked a color that was a little bit lighter, so we weren't adding too much color to those 2 colors that she picked out. And once again, we're dealing with a lot of chunky, especially that basic white girl is very chunky. So I'm going to go in with my wax paper here, and I am going to make sure that I'm patting this down as much as possible. This really does help a lot in the sealing, and then the when you go in with the sealant, with the crystallite glitter glue or the whatever, the polyacrylic, whatever you're using, doing that, and then when you add that first coat of epoxy, just really breaks down a lot of the steps that you have to take as far as like sanding and that kind of thing. So I'm going in right now with a 50-50 mix of crystallite glitter glue and water. This does make a big difference, as I was saying before, putting it all over the handle and all over, both top and bottom, all the way around. And then this is going to allow for our epoxy coat, for that first epoxy coat, to really stick and be the best it can be, so that way we're not having to put multiple coats of epoxy, which just really weighs down a tumbler. And anyways, so I'll get off my soapbox for that. So I just put the 50-50 crystallite glitter glue on here, sealed that up, and then we'll go into our first coat of epoxy. And one thing I can say about these 40-ounce cups is I do every bit of 40 ounces in order to put that first coat on there. After that first coat of epoxy, I usually do about 30 milliliters of 30 ounces would be way too much. 30 milliliters, but at first I do at least 40, because that raw glitter and that it will soak up so much of that epoxy. Not even necessarily soak it up, but it just takes so much to really cover all those nooks and crannies and getting in that handle and everything. But once it's got that smooth first coat of epoxy on there, you can definitely get away with maybe doing 30 milliliters instead of the 40. My tip is to do whatever the ounce of the cup is. So if it's a 20 ounce, 30 ounce, 40 ounce cup, I usually do that many milliliters of epoxy. But when after you get that first coat of epoxy, you can kind of bring that down a little bit in the amount. And once again, I'm going to clean up that rim just because I just don't want too much being built up on that rim, especially with these, because you get a lot of the glue and the glitter and the paint and the epoxy, and it just builds up and builds up and builds up. And then you really need to clean that rim up almost every time that you're putting a coat of epoxy on there. In this part, we're going to do a little bit of sanding on that rim because there was a little bit of those big shards of glitter, and you can only imagine that not patting it down would be even 10 times worse. So just that little bit of a pat down really does help, but we still have some of that glitter that kind of pokes through, and especially when you're dealing with those big chunky pieces. So I'm not going to go into my sticker paper right now, or my printouts or anything right now, because I don't want that sanded underneath, that sanded tumbler, that sanded epoxy. I don't want that to be underneath my clear stickers, because it will not have that opportunity for the epoxy to go into those grooves and get it smooth and pretty. So what I'm going to do is do the sanding, and then I'm going to go into my vinyl work that I'm going to do out on the bottom part of this particular tumbler. So then I'm going to go in with a little bit of alcohol and clean this sanding off of there so that I can go into my next process, or my next step, which is putting our vinyl flamingos on there. So I have this really pretty pink iridescent vinyl. I believe it's Cricut vinyl, and I'm pretty sure I got it at Michael's or Hobby Lobby or something like that. Joann's, maybe, who knows, but somewhere where it was probably on sale, or it was buy one, get 50 off or something like that. So, because that's usually when I buy stuff like this, not necessarily, most of the time it's not for a particular project. It's like, oh, you know what? I could use some pink. I'll put the pink in my drawer, and then, when I need pink, it'll be there. So anyways, I cut these flamingos out, and I did an outline of the flamingos, right? So I did one where it was a full flamingo, and then one where I actually took out the center, so it was just an outline trace of a flamingo. So the reason that I was doing this style here was I wanted to have some kind of flamingo aspect on there other than the stickers that I was going to be putting. I just kind of wanted something in the background. So I thought these would be fun to just kind of have, as a nod to the flamingos in the back. And so I'm going to put this, since I did it in the pink, I'm going to do it down in the blue part there, that aqua teal part. So anyways, I'm going to, like I said, I did the outline of those three, and I did three that were not, and I measured around. I did get the measurements off just a tad bit, but it's okay, because when we put the pictures of the flamingos on there, it really makes it look like you've got some in the background and some in the forefront. So it's really kind of cool. So I do these things so that when you do these things, you will not do the things that I do, right? Right? I mean, that's what I'm doing here, right? I'm just teaching y'all. I'm giving you life lessons. But when I put this, so this still, it does look a little bit straight. I mean, it looks like it would be straight, but it is actually tapered. So when I put them on, I was thinking that, okay, I can put one on, and then I could, just put them on that way, and then just cut it and then put another one on, which I should have left it alone. I should have done exactly this, right? I should have just gone all the way around and put them on and then maybe adjusted them ever so slightly. But I thought, I was like, oh no, they're going to be too close together. But I knew that in the beginning, I did what I was supposed to do, which was measure them out in the right distance. But I got in my head and I thought, oh, I'll just do that. I'll do them one separate, each one separate. But don't do that. I actually measured it out perfectly and it would have gone, but then it became where it was wider and then where they were very skinny on the other side. So anyways, that's what I'm saying. I do these things so that you don't make these mistakes in the future. So just do as I say, right? Not as I do. Anyways, I put the rest of these flamingos going all the way around the bottom part. And I just love that pink tone that goes with that top that we put together with that basic white girl and everything. I think it really has that same iridescent feel to it. So I really, really enjoyed this. So this is sticker paper, and I printed it out on my laser printer. Now, I found all of this on Creative Fabrica. I'll link it all down below. The Creative Fabrica, they just have so much to choose from. It's so absolutely worth the monthly, yearly, whatever, because you can go in there and get anything and everything you need at any point. Very rarely, unless I'm really specifically looking for something that I know maybe can't be found or that I really want it to be much more of a unique piece. But if you're just looking for like flamingos, I mean, I just knew there was going to be a million flamingos and different types of things on there. So I went in and I found this flamingo. Now it is going to look a little bit different because we put that pink background and that, a little bit of pink glitter. So it's going to brighten it up just a little bit, but it also is not going to make it so vibrant. I mean, it makes it vibrant. But anyways, you can see it. It just gives it a little bit of a different tone to it. This is me because I can't see anything with my glasses anymore. So I was there was a piece I think that got bent underneath or something. So I was trying to fix it. Anyways, so I printed off a bunch of these hibiscus flowers and more flamingos. So these all came in like a little bunch, like a little bundle like that. And so I just cut out all that excess part of those. Like I say, always, just make sure you're cutting as much of that off, that clear, sticker paper off of there. I did go in and seal this up because I was afraid that I think one little piece kind of flaked off, like the ink was kind of flaking off. So I just went ahead and sealed that up so that I could go in and it would just sit there and dry for a minute. And then I could go in and cut all of these flowers and flamingos. And, I just wanted it to have that Hawaiian flair or the flamingo flair. I don't know, however you want to call it, but she kind of gave me that sense that was kind of what she wanted in those colors and everything. So I just went with I just went all in with that. So as I was letting that Mod Podge dry on that flamingo, I went ahead and cut out all of these pieces here. And once you cut all of those pieces off around those flamingos or flowers or whatever, just be careful when you're peeling that back off because they do have a tendency to curl up. And then when you're pulling, it kind of pulls into one direction that you've kind of cut off. So just be very careful when you're pulling those off. Just take your time and really be very gentle in the process of peeling those off from the backing. So this is where I put the flamingos in front of those other flamingos, but they have a coat of epoxy on here because I did that sanding and then I went in with a coat of epoxy. And so now I'm going in and putting all of my stickers on now that I have a really nice clear coat of epoxy. So I really love the way those flamingos at the bottom, it just looks kind of like there's one standing in the back and one coming, up front. It had a look to it that I thought really gave off for those flamingos and to make that bottom part kind of its own thing, and the top part kind of its own thing. So anyways, I just continued to put all of these stickers on. I did not have a plan, which I wish I would have maybe kind of planned them out a little bit better, because I was like, if I put one here, then I'm not going to be able to put one there. So I ended up cutting that one. So I cut this one so that I could do half of it on the top there, and then I put the other half on the side. So anyways, sometimes, things, your brain just doesn't function the way that you really thought it would. So anyways, I was trying to figure out, should I put it here? Should I put it here? Should I put it there? So figured I would just put it on the edge of that handle, and then it would just make it seem like it was one little, like that was one piece where the flowers are, and then the other side was where the flamingo was. Anyways, so I put that all on there, and then now I'm going to go in and seal it all with my trusty Mod Podge, and make sure that everything is sealed in really nice, and we're not going to have any wicking away from that epoxy when we go in to our coats, our final coats, and sanding the rim and all of that. So now, after that Mod Podge has dried, we're going to go in with those final coats of epoxy. I'm not doing anything else to this, no name or anything like that, but you could easily slap a name on here or a saying or something like that if you wanted to, but that was not something that she desired, so we just went in with our final coats. So I'm going to put this coat of epoxy on, then I'm going to go into my second coat of that final coat after I do the sanding on the rim. So I'm going to expose some of that stainless steel, so that final coat of epoxy will go onto that stainless steel instead of our epoxy. And there she is, so beautiful. If you love flamingos, I mean, this is the tumbler for you, I think. So I just love the color combination. Obviously, it's a classic. You can't really go wrong with the blue and the pink. That color just is gorgeous. Those flowers were so vibrant and really added to just the design in itself, the beautiful pink, and just the majesticness that I think flamingos have. So anyways, I hope you like this video. Everything's going to be linked down below that I used, that I could find, that I knew that is available, all of those things. So please check the comments down below, or the description down below, and please like and subscribe and comment down below and let me know what you think, and I'll see you next time.